Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium spirit navigator. Today we're going to be talking politics. And today is, let's say, basically the second day past the election. And I did post on my community page. I know a lot of you watch this on TV and you might not have seen that, but I have been relevant. I have been checking in on everybody, including my members, and on social media and on YouTube via my community posts. So I wanted the dust to settle for a lot of reasons. Yesterday, there was a lot of blame going around. You guys were, you were mad. I was mad. We were all mad. And I don't think you guys could have heard the message I'm about to give you yesterday. So I'm giving it to you today. Probably not ready today either, but you know what? When is there ever a good time? So the bottom line is we are okay. Okay. Like, didn't you walk around yesterday looking at the sky and the birds and people doing their business and thinking they don't know, do they? And it's like, why are they acting so normal? Our world has shattered. Our democracy is over. And yet all these people are going about their normal day. And you're just like in wonderment, but also kind of mad at them, right? That they don't know what's coming. And so I would say to you, what's really important, the spirit guides want to say, is to take really good care of yourself, because we're going to go through some things, but not necessarily the things you think. Okay. So, yeah, I saw Kamala Harris winning 100,000%. I saw her winning. And you want to know what? She did win. This was cooked. The spirit guide said from the very beginning, I said it in my post at like 7 a.m. yesterday. This was cooked. Now, it infuriates the Susan part of this. If you're new here, I'm channeling 60% them, 40% me. It really infuriates me because people I know, but also people that are big media people that really have brain cells, say, well, I don't want to be a part of a conspiracy theory. Well, honey, you know what the spirit guides have to say to you about that? Galileo was a conspiracy theory, according to the church. Okay. So this is part of our lesson. Now, I know when I say the word lesson, some of you are like, if she says that word one more time, and I know you go in the closet and you get out that rusty gun that now all of us liberals are going to get out and try to figure out how to use, and you're going to shoot your TV. It's not a good idea, because there's going to be 2,000% tariffs on TVs. You're not going to be able to afford a new one. Do not shoot at me on the TV. It's not helpful. Okay, I'm trying to help you. Take a deep breath. This is about lessons. We've been telling you this from the very beginning. What did we tell you guys about? Biden was going to have to use his king-like powers to do something at the end of the year before January 20. Here we are, folks. Here we are. Also, there's this word of extrajudicial, which means outside of the judiciary, which means outside of the courts. Usually, when you hear, unfortunately, extrajudicial, it's usually involving a killing. And it's outside, someone took the law in their own hands, is what the spirit guides are saying. We're just familiar with it in that sort of retribution, that sort of leveling of the justice system, right? Like the justice system let this person off, and I'm going to get my justice, right? So there's this sense right now of the lesson being that this is not justified. It's not justice. I want you to look at your fellow Americans, or if you're from another country, look at Americans and not think that MFer didn't vote or that person didn't do. This is what they want. They want us divided. When people that I really trust, and there's really only two of them now in mainstream media, when they get out the charts and they start saying this contingency, fill in the blank, it's going to be, some group of people, white women, white men, black men, Hispanics, Native Americans, whatever, they're going to point to some group and say they didn't vote. Okay, that's not helpful, because we don't really know that, because these numbers are cooked. So instead of allowing everybody to divide you, number one, and instead of allowing the bullies to win, number two, And number three, instead of saying, I can't accept that this was cooked because it's a conspiracy theory and I'm a really, smart human being who uses my brain, who I might say is looking and watching a psychic right now. So there is that, just to shatter your normalcy. We got to get over it and we got to say, I'm going to consider all the data. I'm not going to call them facts. I'm going to call it data. I'm going to be open to the data. And I'm going to see where the data takes me. And if I get enough data that starts to make me think something's fishy with this, then I'm going to maybe investigate it a little bit more. And maybe even I'll take it on as a real belief system or a real belief of mine. Okay. I'm going to take my word for it. Just allow the data to permeate your brain. Use your brain. Okay. I can tell you personally, and I'll probably take a picture of the form and put it on the screen. Personally, my personal voting story is that I've lived in this house. I own this house for 4 years, 5 years. Before that, it was a rental, and the person who lived here for 8 years. I know this because all the neighbors know each other and everybody told me the deal and how they, previous renters had taken so good care of the house. And, it was really nice to have this information. So what I'm telling you is that this house has only had two occupants in it for maybe 10, 12 years or something. So imagine my surprise when I get my mail and I just start opening the mail because I live here. And I pull out this form that says, this is the form for you to verify your address to register to vote in the state of Texas. And I said, wait a minute, I'm registered. I mean, at that point, I was checking my registration every week. This was probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks out from the election. And I kept looking at it and I kept thinking, why did they send me this? And then I realized the name on the form was not my name. Okay. And it wasn't the previous renters' names, whom I know, whom moved just 3 or 4 blocks away. Okay. This is somebody, it was a woman, but it was not somebody that I know. I tried to Google the name. I couldn't find this person in Texas. I couldn't find this person anywhere. So I asked some questions of some various local Democrat, group people. And they were like, oh, never mind that. It's probably just a mix up. So I didn't feel like it was a mix up, but I put the form to the side. Now, fast forward to 3 days before the election, and I get a postcard, a handwritten postcard. Thank you to all the people who wrote handwritten postcards and all the people who phone banked and text banked and block walked and donated your time and energy. Thank you for doing that. So I get this postcard, again addressed to me, handwritten, and it says, thank you for voting. And please go get your friends and family to vote too. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. I love when I get these postcards. I've only ever gotten one in the years that I've lived here. Y'all, it wasn't addressed to me. It was addressed to the person who tried to validate my address as a address that they could vote using in my district, in my state, in my county, in my town, in my district. So some things happened here. Somebody tried to register their name and address as mine. I did not send in the form to validate it. I have been here, not out of town. I've been getting my mail every single day. I have a Ring camera. If somebody got my mail, I would know. So I don't know how they would validate the address, my address, and be able to vote from my address. And I have the proof with this very sincere, wonderful handwritten postcard thanking the imposter that used my house to vote. To vote. That's just my experience. But online, there are more and more experiences happening and happening and happening. They're already starting to recount the vote. They're starting to look into it. So here we are. She didn't lose. She won. Okay? She won. I can admit when I'm wrong. I mean, several of the races I called didn't work. I was wrong. I don't have a problem admitting that I'm wrong. I'm not always right. Most of the races I called won, a few didn't. I was wrong. This is Harris is not lost. She was stolen. And because they did this thing where whoever starts the narrative owns the narrative, right? So the other side has said all Democrats are pedos, right? They're pedophiles. And now if we try to accuse them of being one, it's sour grapes because they own the narrative. They own the narrative that their vote, that stop the steal. They own that. Now we can't say it because if we say it, oh, just sour grapes because you're just doing it because you did it to us. You know what I mean? It's like this playground bully slash gaslighting thing that happens. But unfortunately, the Democrats fall for it every single time, which brings us to our lesson. Stop throwing things at the screen. I'm telling you, you're going to ruin your own shit. I'm not responsible. The lesson, like I had told y'all, is bully energy. Now, why does this matter to you? You're like, Susan, it doesn't matter. Harris is screwed. We're screwed. Okay, fine. I get it. I get it. If you want to feel that way, be in your feelings. Next week, I'm not going to allow it, but right now you get a pass. All right. Why it matters is because the spirit guides told you that Biden would have to do something big and outside of, again, they're showing me the metaphor. Guess what metaphor they used? You're in your house, you're in your bedroom, and somebody's broken into your house, and this, you can hear them coming towards your door. Maybe you live in an isolated area. There's no one who's supposed to be home. There's no one. Maybe you even see the intruder on some kind of camera. You're in your room. What do? Well, it turns out you've got a weapon. But you don't want to use the weapon because you're not a person who's violent. You're not a person who would ever use the weapon. Maybe it's not even your weapon. Maybe it's your partner's or your spouse's, or maybe it's just, for that just in case that you thought would never happen. This is where we are. The just in case that you thought would never happen. The contingency that you never thought you would have to use. Here, this intruder's coming into your room. You've got your weapon. You're shaking. You don't want to use the weapon. You don't want to use the weapon. I can't do it. I can't do it. Guess what? It's you or them. It's you or them. If you crumple on the floor and give up, they win. Do you understand what we just said? If you crumple on the floor and give up, they win. We have to use whatever we can to protect ourselves and to save our democracy. That also means Biden has to use whatever he has to use to save our democracy. Okay. Now, I'm just going to say this to anybody who knows me personally. Please do not tell me Biden will never do that, because if you do that, I just also want to say that the Susan component of this human experiment that's happening right now is violent. So I really am. I'm spicy. I'm about to use my truck as a battering ram to anybody I see with a Trump flags. I am not well. The human part of this is not well. Okay. Do not tell me in the comments, Biden is never going to do it. I will try to overlook your comment, but I can't guarantee that I won't block you forever. I can't. I don't have any patience for you. This is real life. If you need to cry in a corner, please, for the love of God, go cry in a corner. Please do it. Please take care of yourself. Don't come to me. I can't. I'm busy. My house is burning down. I got a fire hose. I'm trying to put it out. I'm busy right now. I cannot console you. And I for sure cannot hear that you're being a defeatist. Okay? I can't. So please take your defeatist attitude and go over there. Go wherever you need to go to take care of yourself. When you're ready to fight, I'm here to fight with you. For real. Okay. Now, so here we are with our lesson. And our lesson is bullies everywhere, right? The bullies in your life, the bullies all the way up to the White House, all the way up to this orange turd that wants to be in the White House. And how is this permeating all the way down? Well, a lot of women are like, "Oh my God, I can't, I can't put up with this family member anymore. I can't put up with this husband, wife anymore. The rubber's meeting the road is what's happening, you guys. And in your own life, you're going to be throwing the bully out. You really are. Between now and say March of next year, a lot of things are going to go down. A lot of things are going to go down. And look, get therapy, get help. Watch videos on YouTube on how to deal with narcissists, on how to deal with borderline personality disorder people, on how to deal with bullies, on how to have boundaries. Learning this information for free on YouTube is going to be the biggest gift you ever gave yourself. I promise you, the biggest gift you've ever given yourself, because you're learning your lesson. It's all of our lessons, all the way from the top to the bottom. Once we all learn our lessons energetically, we don't have to have this lesson anymore. And it's not just about Biden not ever doing it, it's you not ever doing it. Are you going to stand up to the bullies in your life? And you know who they are. You know who they are. When you stand up to the bullies in your life, then maybe you can give Biden some shit. Now I have to say, this is spirit, because I can give Biden shit all day long. But right now, I mean, I love Biden, but he is not a fighter. He's an internal fighter. He's a behind the scenes fighter. He doesn't want to show it. He's a Scorpio. He doesn't want to show his hand. He wants to do everything behind the scenes, which is great, except for it sometimes looks like he's not doing anything. Right? I know he's doing a lot, but it looks like to the public that he's not doing anything. So I think what's interesting is this is all setting up for him to have a showdown. And I don't know if it's a showdown with the Supreme Court or a showdown with Congress or a showdown with Trump, or I don't know, but it's setting up for him to have a showdown. Now, how this might happen, and let me just say this too. There are multiple timelines. Okay? There are multiple exit points for you to die. For those of you that think everything is written in stone, it is not. We have free will. Very few things are written in stone. It was Kamala Debbie Harris's destiny to be president. If she's robbed of that, it is not her fault. She was there. She did the thing Spirit wanted her to do. She gave it a 10 million% effort. It was taken from her. That is not her fault. She was there to do her destiny. Okay. Now, there are multiple potential options, and all of them have energy, and it all depends on free will. One of the things that happened was, I feel that the the DOJ, what they just showed me was Garland. The DOJ, and don't even get me started on Garland. The DOJ had, how do I say? They had intel, they had whisperings, they had I don't know what to say, but whisperings of the vote being sabotaged. And they know who did it, and they know how they did it, and they know where it was done. Okay? But again, what do you do? We've talked about this on this channel for years. What does the United States do? They often say we don't want to be weak. We don't want to look like our voting system is not trustworthy, because then Americans will lose trust in the voting system, and then we'll have chaos, and then democracy will be threatened. Meanwhile, it's like, I'm going to let the intruder break into my house, but I know this bedroom is safe, so I'll just hide in the bedroom. Sooner or later, they're going to come for you. We've got to stop this mentality of we're just going to look the other way and eventually it'll all be fine, because it's not working. It's not working, right? So one of the possibilities is that the data, the evidence. Okay, never mind. God, there's multiple possibilities. Okay, the first one you want to talk about is that that because this is the preferred way, which honestly, again, what I just said, Pisses me off. But anyway, the preferred way is, oh, these voting machines weren't tabulating right, and now we're going to have this big recount. And now that we're doing this recount, we're seeing how this system or this thing or this whatever happened, fill in the blank, something happened, and now we're seeing how it happened in other communities or other states. And so it grows. Okay. Now, I want you to focus on what wasn't said. What wasn't said was nobody said nothing about it being stolen. They said an anomaly. They said something weird went down, but we're fixing it. And then maybe in December, maybe in January, somebody says, well, oh my gosh, they're doing these recounts and it's really adding up. And, really Kamala Harris might win. I mean, this could be an upset, folks. Imagine how happy the media would be to be able to report on that for the next 3 weeks, right? That's one way it could happen, is that literally there is a reversal of fortune, is what the guides are saying, but a reversal of the count. But no blame is had. Now, y'all, did we learn our lesson? No. The lesson was put under the rug once again. You know what I mean? We fixed the problem. We don't have to learn the lesson. We bolted the bedroom door. We don't have to worry about all the crooks in the living room. They're just going to steal everything we have. We'll be safe hiding in here. It's not going to work, you guys. This is what I'm trying to say, is that they're going to come through your bedroom door. This is in your own life as well. You can't hide from the bullies anymore. Number one, you're not going to want to, because the energy is changing. Number two, the bullies are going to be more emboldened, and you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to take a stand in your life, but also Biden has to take a stand in his role as leader of our country. So one way would be, this is all corrected, right? And everybody's happy, and oh boy, we knew something was off. We just knew something was off. And then, of course, the other side is enraged. I mean, absolutely enraged. And now they're calling again, and that plays into a lot of lessons where there's division. This is the energy we're going into, is the Civil War division energy, which would make her the law and order president, right? Because if this turns out to be one of the routes that we go down, one of the timelines we go down, then she really will be the law and order president, because all hell will be breaking out in the streets everywhere. And the spirit guides are saying, in some ways, you're not any safer with her president as you are without her president, because either way, you've got to face your own insecurities, your own bullies. You have to take care of yourself. I know that's hard to hear. The spirit guides have no emotion, zero. Okay. Now, the other way it could go down is that what they woke me up this morning saying was Scotland Yard. Now, it might not be Scotland Yard, but it could be some kind of transnational intelligence. Again, so let's just say that Biden gets this transnational intelligence, because I know y'all are not going to hear anything I have to say. Our FBI is not in the game, and our CIA is not. If y'all read history, you know what I'm talking about. They're not in the game of making America look bad. They're in the game of covering up presidential, crimes or faux pas, or, United States crimes. They're in the game of covering that up so that America just goes to work and produces that money and stays calm. All the citizens stay calm. The bees in the beehive. If you whack it with a baseball bat, well, you're going to have a problem. Not only are you going to get stung, have to deal with a bunch of angry bees, but they're not producing honey. That's the real key here. Producing our GDP, producing our money, being workers, being worker bees. As long as we're calm and relatively okay, plus or minus a little bit, and we have a large tolerance for, I just want to say, fuckery. We do. We have a large tolerance for that, until we don't. And then we stop working and we get in the streets and then they have problems. So you can see how why it's important for them to cover things up because there's more of us. And if we get all angry, be crazy, they've got problems. That stops everything. Okay? So, the second thing is because the FBI and the CIA is covering up stuff and the ATF allegedly for entertainment purposes only, my opinions. They just said Michael Steele, isn't he the guy, the spy who gave us the intel on Trump? Isn't he the guy from another country who said, "Here's the intel," right? Did we act on it? No. Did our judicial system put him in prison? No. Did we allow him every single break? Yes. Did we give our bully an extra chance? Yes. How many times? This is in your personal life too. I'm going to keep reminding you because if we don't fix it in our personal lives, we're not ever going to fix it on the big world stage. I hate to tell you, it's everywhere. It's not just this problem is everywhere. It's not just a Biden problem. It's not a Congress problem. It's a human problem. Okay. So the other thing is that we get this external, real intelligence. I'm saying wiretap, voices, video, handwriting analysis, the actionable, like they did the thing, and witnesses. I'm saying you got a whole court case right there all together, just ready for you to go. Now, if Biden gets this, so I was just talking, but the internet went out, so I had to wait for the internet to come back, and so here we are again. So I had to download the video to see what the hell I was talking about because I don't know, because I'm channeling. So what they were saying was Biden gets this information, this bolus of information, and he sits on it. And again, he's a Scorpio. He's behind the scenes. He's not going to show you what he's going to do. It's that sort of sense of playing chess, but keeping all your moves behind, closed doors. Okay, so he has this information. He's talking to somebody in Britain that looks like it might be the prime minister, or it doesn't look like the prime. You know what it looks like? It looks like their old minister, not the guy that was like Trump, but the guy that was maybe 6 or 8 years ago. Who was this? Was it Tony something? Anyway, he's talking to somebody who looks like that. This guy looks like somebody who was a prime minister who had a really high level of leadership in Britain, the UK, and he's saying, how do we set the trap? Is what I just heard him say. How do we set the trap? Also, this trap is such that because again, we don't believe in these things. We think it's conspiracy theories. Biden is saying, I don't want my fingerprints on it. I don't want it to look like it came from me, right? Because I need it to look neutral. I need this to be, again, they're saying the words extrajudicial. Maybe what they mean by that is outside of our judiciary. They mean by Scotland Yard. International. What if one of their options is that internationally we get a warrant or an extradition? They just said an extradition for someone like Musk. I have to say someone like Musk, but I'm really talking about someone like Musk. What if they get an extradition? What if there is pressure applied to the people that are paying the puppet masters? What if there's pressure applied to the puppet masters? Does this sound like crazy talk? Yes. Are you listening to a psychic? Yes. Make peace with it or else. You know what I mean? They put pressure on the puppet masters. The puppet masters say, we, uncle, fine. We'll say, we'll capitulate. We'll help you make it so that this was rigged. We won't take responsibility. The puppet masters won't take responsibility, will allow you to extradite someone like Musk. Maybe will allow you to extradite someone like 45, but we'll make it all go. The sense is we can make this all go away. Would you like to see what we have against you? Would you like for this to go away? What are we doing, you guys? Putting it under the rug again, putting it under the rug again, and then allowing Harris to clean up the mess. Okay, those are two timelines that can happen. Basically, the same solution. The same solution is that pressure's applied in one way or another. And I mean, there's some other things like Musk going away is a different outcome, right? There's different outcomes, but basically the same energy of we'll just make all this go away. We'll pretend like this never happened. We'll keep all the little busy worker bees working because that's what we need to happen, right? We don't want to upset this very busy beehive. Okay. We need everybody to be as chill as possible. So those are two solutions. Now, let me just say this really quickly. And that is that when I go into Kamala's energy, she is shattered. She's crushed. She feels the word they wanted to say last night is repudiated. Repudiated. She feels rejected. She feels like she lost. Even if I think that she believes that there was shenanigans, but I think that they even planned for shenanigans. And her game plan was that we would have enough to overcome the shenanigans, which remember is exactly what the spirit guide said. They said they're going to attack, and they used the word attack. They're going to attack Georgia. What happened? Bomb threats came in allegedly from Russia. They're going to attack the swing states, but yet places like Iowa is going to come through. Now, let me also say, I was wrong about Iowa, but let me also say that the Selzer poll, this woman whose last name is Selzer, she's been predicting Iowa races for more than a decade, and she's been right. When Trump won, when Trump lost, she's been right. She was wrong this time. Alan Lichtman has been right. He was wrong this time. You guys, it was rigged, it was stolen. Period, end of story. Okay. So Kamala Harris made a plan. She's like, we're going to have so many extra votes coming from these red states that it's going to carry us when they attack the swing states. That's what I told you guys. That's what the guides told you guys. It didn't work because they attacked those states too. They pulled the lever. The guides keep saying they pulled the lever. I think what they mean is they manipulated. They manipulated the data. Again, somebody voted from my house using my house as their, and we know this because it's third party verified by some sweet person who wrote this person who lives in my house, who doesn't live in my house and doesn't even exist as far as I can tell, a handwritten postcard. I have data. I'm bringing receipts to you. But Kamala Harris feels, I can't, okay, right. So this is what they said. You know how you feel? Like you can't get up off the floor, like you can't breathe, like you can't go on, like life is over, like I don't, like just shattered. That's how she feels. She feels shattered. She feels like she let down every single American, every single person that she looked into their eyes at those rallies and shook their hand and hugged them and said, I won't stop fighting for you. She feels like she let them down. And the problem is that Biden, I mean, I think my criticism of him is that he's been too conciliatory. Okay. But also, I've always told you guys, Dark Brandon, don't make the guy mad. He takes the gloves off and he will knock you out before you even know what's coming. I have said this about him from day one. This is what we have now. What we have now is roll his sleeves up, put on his dark aviators, because he's thinking about his granddaughter who was on that stage with him. He's thinking about everybody's granddaughters. That's what he's thinking about. And he's not going to walk out of this White House. No, he is not. He's not going to walk out of this White House and hand over the United States of America to Russia. He's not going to do it. I don't know. I don't know how he's not going to do it, but his energy suggests he's not going to do it. So that's his resolve. That's him on the down low, working with these other countries to do what he has to do to put the pressure on the right people to get them to capitulate so that Kamala Devi Harris can be president. Now, here's the problem. The problem is Kamala's like, nope, I'm out. Peace out. Peace out. Not doing it. Something in her has broken, really broken, unfortunately, sadly. Now, she does not know what Biden is doing. Nobody knows what Biden's doing. Biden does what Biden does. And I think Biden, I mean, when I look at the energy, Biden, if this gets turned over and the courts, it's really turned over, we're going to inaugurate her. We're going to certify her as president. And whether she wants to do it or not, this is part of her. This is a tower moment for her. This is when, we've all had them. We're having one right now where everything that we thought was true, we're starting to wonder if it is true. Are my fellow Americans really normal, good people, or are they monsters? Right? We're all wrestling with this energy, and that's what she's wrestling with. She's thinking, I'm not the best person for the job. I didn't complete. She's not feeling sorry for herself. She's just saying, I didn't win. So we have this third timeline setting up where Biden does what he needs to do behind the scenes. And then Kamala has to step into the role because you don't have a choice at this time. You were on the ticket. You are the woman who's going to do this because you were destined to do this. Now, that's three timelines. Last timeline, worst timeline, hell on earth timeline, and it's possible. I'm not going to sugarcoat jack nothing for you. It's possible that Trump is our president. Why would that be? Because, take a deep breath, we have to learn our lesson. If every single time Democrats get in office, they clean up the mess from the Republicans. And what happens is then the Republicans run on all the wonderful things that the Democrats do or did, and then they jack it up again. We're never learning our lesson. We're never learning our lesson. All the timelines I just explained to you require that bad acts, that horrible things get pushed under the rug. And our energy is, we're not going to do that anymore. Our energy is to deal with our original wound as a country. This country was founded on violence. Most were. Conquer, right? Explorers were conquerors. We have an opportunity to go back. It's not an opportunity. Our face is getting rubbed in it. Look what you did to these people. Look at it. Biden just apologized to Native Americans. Why hasn't every president apologized to Black people, to Asian people, to Native Americans? Why haven't we done that? But we're doing it now because the energy suggests we have to. We don't have a choice. We have to deal with our demons, with our bullies, with our past, with our wound. Okay? So if Trump gets in to be president, guess what's going to happen? Instead of 4 years of Kamala Harris giving us our Christmas wish list, our Hanukkah wish list, our Kwanzaa wish list, our birthday list, instead of getting healing and continuing this beautiful growth of our economy and whatnot, well, we're going to have No Department of Education, no FEMA, no environmental laws or rules. We're going to be getting sick off the food we eat. Social Security is probably going to be limited. If you get it, you might continue to get it, but if you're like me and you're not there yet, you're not going to get it. No school lunches for kids. No paycheck protection. You know what I mean? Like those people who are so poor that they're like, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It does matter to you because right now, under our federal guidelines, someone has to pay you. But under Trump, no one has to pay you because he doesn't pay anybody. We don't have enough courts to litigate this, which is also Trump. So what's going to happen? Well, you want to know what's going to happen is Americans are going to all together not be separated anymore. We're not going to be divided anymore because we're all going to be united in our pain and agony. That's what's going to happen. So in this situation where it might take 8, 10, 12, 20 years for Democrats for us to get to this place of understanding we're all one together. Your God's not better than my God. Your skin's not better than my skin. If the Democrats are in charge, this is going to take a long time. If we just eat our poison, our medicine, which is really like poison, almost kills us, we're going to be through this in 2 to 4 years. In 2 to 4 years, there will be 2 Democratic parties and 2 Republican parties. And you will have a much more liberal society. Now, you're saying, how can that happen, Susan? Because he'll never stop running for president. Well, that's when you have a coup. That's when you have a real one. And look, the other thing I'll say, and I'm going to close this video out. You guys are really underestimating your fellow Americans. There's really only a small percentage that are, they're ugly, they're mean, they're nasty, they're inhumane, but it is a small percentage that would fire on their own citizens. When push came to shove, Raffensperger said, I'm not going to do this. Now, this guy is all up in Trump's camp right now. But when it came down to it, he said no. When it came down to it, Pence said, no, I'm not leaving this building. If I do, this man will not ever leave the presidency. So these surprising spineless men that are Republicans today stood up and said no. So I don't see him having a dictatorship. I don't see it. Do I see him ruling us like some kind of jackass? Yes, I do. There is that timeline does exist. Will we all learn our lessons? Yes, we will. We will. Because when he starts going after Biden to investigate and put him in jail, the Cheneys, y'all really think the Cheneys are going to let some goon come up in their yard and try to arrest them? If y'all really think that, you got another thing coming. These powerful people will not let this happen because it's their skin in the game. Maybe they can't stand up for you, but they sure as hell can stand up for themselves. Okay. And that would be, we got to get this power back. It's not in their best interest to lose this power in this way. Pence will be hunted down. All these people are at risk way faster than you. Trump's policies may not even hit you for a year or 2 years. You might not feel it for a year or 2 years. Guess who's going to feel it within the first 3 weeks? Michael Cohen, CNN, NBC, CBS. All these people who have a lot more power than you and I are first on the list. They have everything. They have everything to lose, and they will do everything they can to keep this from happening. But if it does happen, they'll do everything they can to get rid of him. And let's say we get rid of him because we all know that the real thing was Vance. The spirit guides told you Vance was installed. He was not picked by Trump. Trump didn't want him. If I was Vance, I would be nervous right now, to be honest with you, because it might be a window or a door or a slippery staircase in your future, because 45 knows it's you or him. So which is it going to be? Who's going to go first? Right? So that is a timeline that can exist. But I see our democracy coming through in all those timelines. But guess what? There's a thread that exists in all those timelines, and that is disruption. That is law and order. That is our judges. That is America saying, I don't care. I don't care if you're running for president. You broke the law, you're going to jail. We must get rid of this two-tier tyranny. We must get rid of it. We have to wake up, Americans, and say, let me look at the data. This might have been stolen. So what if you call me a conspiracy theorist? I don't care. Why are we letting them gaslight us? Why? Why are we believing their lies? We've got to stop. And we've got to stand up to the bullies in your household, in your friend circle, in your marriage, in your kids, in your community, everywhere. Because once we start dealing with the bullies locally, that energy is going to start changing all the way up and down the column of power. Pushing it under the rug, the energy suggests we're just not going to be allowed to do this, okay? The bottom line is take care of yourself. You still have to get up and brush your teeth. You still have to go take a shower. You still have to feed your pets. You still have to take care of your kids or your grandkids. Life goes on. Focus on raising your own vibration. This will help everybody. Think about a bunch of dim lights, just barely glowing. That's America right now. Well, it's much easier for a bully to come in and blow all those lights out. If our lights are raging fires, if our light is shining bright, in spite of the threat, in spite of the bullying, they're not going to blow our lights out. We're going to shine our lights for those that can't shine. We are the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it shining. Keep your light shining. Okay? Take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again really soon. We're going to make it. We're going to be okay. For entertainment purposes only,